We have back on the show Dr. Bob Weil, and he's back for the Sports Doctor is In segment. Welcome back, Dr. Bob.
Hey, Christine, it's always fun to be back with you and talk a little sports medicine, etc. on Run With It. So it's great to be back.
Yes, and this month we're going to be talking about orthotics. And what a great topic. And congratulations on your recent article, which was last month in MVP Parent Magazine.
Yes, we're very excited about that magazine. It's really evidence-based, everything in the world of youth sports. Orthotics are as important for someone who's very active athletically as they are for a grandma to try to prevent falls, as they are to try to deal with the weekend warrior, et cetera, et cetera. Done properly, orthotics help align the foot ankle, that complex ball and socket-like joint that allows us to absorb shock and allows us to push off and everything in between. So briefly, the terms people and runners know by heart, pronation and supination, these are normal motions, but they're complex. They're ball and socket-like motions that allow the foot to absorb shock when we first land on the heel, walking. They allow the foot to shape to the ground, everybody. Imagine yourself walking barefoot on the grass. Your foot adapts to the surface, and your body is rotating inward, your knees, to act as a pogo stick to absorb impact. And that pronating action continues till you bear weight. Once you bear weight, everything changes. The body rotates externally as the foot lines up, that's our big toe, to what's called supinate, push us off like a spring lever. And very often that timing is limited or affected by someone who's got excessive pronated or flat feet. Somebody might have high arches, somebody's knock-kneed or has one leg longer than another. So orthotics fit into that category to help properly support the foot, yes, but very importantly, act as a positioner so that we are supinating on time. If you're pushing off the ice with a triple jump, hey, all my figure skaters out there, you better be lined up. So, how's your foundation? Your foot ankle is your foundation. Orthotics is one of our best weapons to put that foundation in its best position.
So that would be the secret ingredient to enhancing performance and to prevent injuries and for all ages.
It doesn't replace being in the proper shoe. It doesn't replace knowing what your history or your son or daughter's history is. Why does my daughter's knees hurt her every time she starts soccer season? Or what is it with my son's heels that are bothering me? Or what about my plantar fasciitis, the inflammation of the arch and heel is the most common symptom we see in active people. And runners are number one with plantar fasciitis, excessive stress on the arch. And this is when many times we'll see that paying attention to alignment makes big sense. And one of the things I want to get across to all of our Run With It friends is if you have persistent, ongoing lower extremity problems, your back, your knees, your hips, your feet and ankles, then you want to look at podiatry and the role of orthotics, which can be very, very helpful. Again, in number one, like you said, preventing problems, especially overuse problems. It's in the running world where you're hitting the ground the same way hundreds of times, time after time, with 2-3 times your body weight. So if we've got biomechanical imbalances, 85% of us have biomechanical imbalances. Examples I just gave you, pronated feet. The foot affects everything else above. It's like the song that I sing every time I'm on your show. Foot bones connected to the ankle bones, connected to the knee bone. So it's not, people ask all the time, do I need orthotics? Do my children need? And many times we say, let's consider whether we would benefit. Will we prevent trouble? Half the knee problems I see in running, jumping, people. Half the knee problems in girls are foot related, where we're using orthotics because of knee problems, because of the biomechanics with wider hips, more of an angle down to the knee, and sometimes more rotation. So again, we ask runners, we ask active people or parents or coaches to be a good listener to yourself, as well as your particular athletes, and talking about, do you have chronic problems? Orthotics could be made many times. This is an example of an unbreakable, flexible plastic that might be in somebody's shoes for 10 years, from their loafers to their running shoes to their tennis shoes. Sometimes we'll cover devices full shoe like I'm showing you. But the key to orthotics is this measuring of the positioning of the joints. I still use cast molds of the feet. I'm a dinosaur. I find it's the most precise. But today there's lots of different molds that are used, scanners that are used, and they're getting better and better, 3D technology. But again, you're talking about complicated joints of the foot ankle. Very commonly, there are imbalances. Again, whether you inherited flat feet from your mom and your grandparents, or whether you inherited high arches, or if you have a history of your feet bothering you. What fools us many times posturally, Christine, is that many times still, if the feet don't hurt, the role of the foot and the rest of the body is ignored. The attention's only paid to the knees that hurt, or the attention is always only paid, let's say, to the shins that are hurting. And we're saying that 80% of shin splints are foot related. So sometimes we'll see that we can miss looking at the right place or including exam. This is why I tell every athlete or every family of athletes, include podiatry. Are you in the best shoe for you? All those kinds of questions, that how much attention should you be paying to orthotics? But orthotics are not arch supports. Again, orthotics are biomechanical devices measuring these positions. Imagine your feet moving up and down, your feet rolling in and out, your feet turning in and out. Those positions are all part of pronation supination. And when the timing's off, imagine pushing off that still flexible, rolled in foot. You're jerking the knee around, you're sometimes jamming your back, and you're a step or two slow. So when the proper orthotic is in that person's shoes and they are pushing off on time, then they are more efficient. And usually we'll see, almost always, that's helpful.
Yes. And
but again, people ask all the time, well, what about what I could buy over the counter? What about what I could buy online? You can't beat the personal attention of the podiatrist or a foot specialist or a orthotic specialist physical therapist. Yes, they're expensive, but so are my bifocal lenses on my eyes, and so are the crowns in my teeth, because they're prescription. But I have people wearing the same orthotics. I'll tell you a real quick story. I have a patient who's a volleyball coach. She's been for years. I've seen volleyball players for years. She's been in orthotics 8-10 years. She says, Dr. Weil, my sister's in the office. She wants to come say hi. She's a patient of yours. Martha comes bopping in. Hi, how are you? She takes her orthotics out of her sneakers. They say, Dr. Weil, 1979 on them. She was put in them as a high school runner with shin splints. And here it is 40 years later. She's a mom and she's active as a walker. So sometimes we will see these plastic devices can last years and years and years. They don't have to be replaced all the time, maybe in growing children. But we want to get the point across, and we'll talk more. Maybe we'll answer a few questions next show. For example, if we want to include a question in the Sports Doctor is In segment, I'd be glad to add that in. How much time do we have?
1 minute.
Anyway, we enjoy, Christine's been on my show, The Sports Doctor, numerous times. People can go to my website, sportsdoctorradio.com. If they go to radio shows, they'll probably catch 3 or 4 shows that we had Christine on, many guests, so many different topics. We have thousands and thousands of followers on Facebook and Twitter. I can't tell you how many guests I get from those venues. So it's always great to be with you. And maybe we'll get a little bit more interactive, answer some questions in the future if you would like. But it's always my pleasure being back on the show with Christine. So glad to be back. See everybody next time.
Yes, and thank you very much, Dr. Bob Weil. And we will do a second one, and we'll get some questions answered.
Great.
So, thanks very much, and stay tuned, everyone.